Dear friends, in ages of artistic cannibalism and decrepitude beyond all imagining, we find ourselves here in this haunted, wasted seigneurial. We meet eye to eye, heart to heart, as the most bohemian, the most cringe, the most embarrassing of true believers, of art-loving fools. The only real things left. Everything else, fake, maudlin, mawkish, embarrassing. Only you and I here on this stream, we're the only things standing between true art and desolation. Pure desolation. Hi everybody, how's it going? What's up? Welcome to my YouTube show. So happy to have you here on YouTube. Hey everybody, I can't wait to get into it, give some art advice, all sorts of tips and tricks for everybody coming on right down the pipe. We're going to teach you how to use Photoshop, how to make them lines, and if you've ever wanted to draw some cute girls, well buddy, you're in the right place. Hello, Drain Napple. Hello, C. Buckthorn, Doroboro 81, Robert Litja, Max Samang Kucher, Schizoid 137, Desuman, Cloak, Andreas A. Hello, everybody. Hello, and happy Friday to you all. I'm sure many of you are just trying to wrap up the week. Maybe you're at work listening to this, you naughty, naughty boy. Don't you know you're not supposed to be watching YouTube at work, but here you are. I can't get enough of you, says Joey, who I was on the phone with not moments ago. Yeah, here he's got energy to listen to me more. We were on the phone talking about senseless teenage violence. The kind that comes to define a man. About the many vicissitudes of fate that make the young go astray and operate against their own values, their own dreams, and their own beliefs. That perfect darkness, nihilism. Right, Joe? That's what we're talking about, I think. Or we're just talking about teens ransacking Chinese restaurants. I forget now. Let me move this over here. Let me put on a little... where's my retro wave? There it is. Just put on a little bit of soft something in the background. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Psst, man, what a question. What a question. How am I supposed to answer that in a satisfactory way? How am I supposed to cut through all the jetsam and the flotsam and answer in a way that's both honest but not destabilizing? Difficult. My God, I wish you'd never asked me that. I just don't know how to handle it. What are we drawing today? As usual, I have no idea. We're making lines, we're searching, drawing for the joy of it. Chady on fire, hello. Yam, it is what it is. Hi, Nai. Legost Yankee. Yankee finally caught alive for longer than 5 minutes. Let's give it up for Yankee. You did it, Yankee. How'd everybody's weeks go? Were you as creative as you wanted to be? Even if you weren't as creative as you wanted to be, did you get some creativity in? Did you beat back the darkness by filling the world with light? Did you make against the ceaseless current of that river? True Omen says, hey, Steven Zapata Art, how to approach making an illustration outside of the comfort zone? Well, first you got to define your comfort zone. I'll tell you what, even within your comfort zone, even if you think your comfort zone is, oh, I'm really good at portraits, or I'm really good at characters, and I'm not so good at other things, you're not as good as you think you are. If you're perfectly honest, you're not as good as you think you are. That may be your comfort zone, but art is so vast, and the improvement available is so infinite that you could just stay in there forever if you really wanted to and keep improving at that. You would just need to start turning it around in different ways, approaching it from different angles. But to move outside of your comfort zone, I think must be done with a purpose, especially if you're doing it as an illustration. If it's not just like general drawing skills that you're trying to improve, but if you're trying to make illustrations that are outside of your comfort zone, illustrations are really hard and they require a lot of follow through and they take a lot of time. So you need good purpose. You know, you need to pick something that really energizes you. You know, you want to base it off of some need, you know. It could be a career need, a monetary need, a, you know, job that you want to get, a sector that you want to break into, or it could be more just an emotional need to convey a particular idea or to maybe illustrate a particular story that you've wanted to do for a long time. But you need something that rises to the level of need, something really, really urgent, because you're going to need that energy to get you through the tough parts, right? Because in your comfort zone, what the comfort zone gives you is that the whole process feels fun, so it's easy to push through. Outside of your comfort zone, there's going to be friction, unless you're a Zen master. It's possible to be. You can pull it off, but no need to wait until that to keep making art. So to compensate for the friction that you're going to face, you need some emotional need. You need some strong emotional tie to the project to get you to push through it. Easier said than done, my friend. But seek that for sure. Do you still have childhood drawings? Yeah. Not at my place. At, like, you know, my mom has them and stuff like that. What did you see to design these cool monsters? I haven't seen anything in like a psychedelic way, if that's what you mean. Like, I've never like hallucinated stuff like this or anything like that. I've just always gravitated towards stuff like this. I've just seen lots of art like this and made a lot of art like this. And I've also seen things that aren't monsters that I try to transform into creatures and art, you know? Like, I might be drawing something super creepy on the surface, but the main thing that's sort of driving me on it might be a memory of a classical sculpture or something like that. So it's not always anything sort of one-to-one or anything like that. Sketchbook 2023, March 31. Nice, I didn't spill any of myself. Amazing week, but still happy the weekend comes. Nice. weird week, made some work, helped on a project, then got sad. I always get sad on almost weekends. I feel you. I feel you. It happens. Tried to complete a song, but the shackles of perfection ruined me once again. Perfectionism is hard. It's a hard illusion. Remember, you've never encountered perfection. The standards you're holding yourself to there are imaginary. I was not as creative as I wanted to be, but I had fun drawing regardless. Nice. Milk Money. Damn, Milk Money must have a lot of milk money to be named after it. Maybe Milk Money, like, it's not just like getting money to buy milk from their parents, but it's like, maybe they run like a milk empire. Maybe they're like stunting with money they've earned through milk and milking things. It's got to be part of the job, right? I guess it could be another company doing the milking, and then you're sort of a middleman, which case you're part of the problem. You're making the world a worse place. You know, the world doesn't need more middlemen, but I would imagine they would be around even in milk circles. All right. Hi, Stephen. I have a problem where I draw better high due to only drawing while high for years on end. How do you suggest I break the disconnect between the knowledge I've accumulated and my normal brain? That's a tough one for me to help with, just because I haven't done much of that and I don't have a lot of experience with that. I wish I could hook you up with some friends that I have who have more experience with that. But I mean, it's not that you draw better high, like because you're high. At least I don't think that would be it. It's that you feel more relaxed high, or you're not thinking about other things high, or maybe you're more focused when you're high or something like that. You can definitely unlock more of that in your sober state when you're working. You just need to identify sort of let's face it, somewhere way down there's going to be fear involved. It's like there's hang-ups, there's deep-seated fears that when you sit at the drawing table, they're emerging and they're distracting you, not letting you concentrate, not letting you do deep work, not letting you focus. That's my assumption. I highly doubt that it's, being high is not actually making anyone better at drawing. You're always going to draw, the mechanical act of drawing. You're always going to do that better. Sober, putting aside any sort of jitters or nervousness that you're getting because you're in generally a fearful state when you're sober. Putting that aside, you're always going to draw better sober, just because it's a mechanical thing that benefits from focus and concentration and just being level-headed about it, I think you're going to have to investigate what is holding you back when you're sober. Steven, do you ever switch your mind when you draw random natural things? I mean, like the random movement of the smoke, the fire, or broken glass, or in general, to make a natural composition in the pose? Yeah, but there is definitely two mind states that I flicker back and forth between, but it's not not anymore. It's not like a purposeful switch. I just, whenever I'm drawing, I sort of do whatever, I do that. When I have pencil to the paper, I'm just drawing that thing in a million different variations over and over again. And then as soon as I lift the pen, then I go into an analytic mode. Analytic makes it sound harder and more rigid than it is, but I start analyzing what I did, and I just say yes or no. Is that close enough that I can keep it? And then that may then say, all right, well, we need to do a correction, right? But so then I'll go in and do the correction. But even when I'm correcting, as soon as I touch down for the correction, I go back to sort of doing whatever and just throwing a line that's exciting. There needs to be really specific criteria on the drawing for me to break out of that back and forth. Lalokin says, hey, hello, Stefanowski. Do you have any tips on using blending stumps? I've bought one of those recently and they feel kind of meh. Is it about the quality of the stumps or pencil quality? It is not about the quality of the stumps. I buy the cheapest stumps. I don't think there are expensive blending stumps. I buy, you know, cheap ones that are like cents for each individual one is, you know, like a few cents. The pack is like a pack of 15 or 20. That's like a couple dollars. So it's not about the quality of the stumps. You just need to get used to them. What makes you use them well is being in the right mind state. You shouldn't use them to soften things. You should draw with the blending stump and be trying to add information with the blending stump rather than just softening information that's already there. On the mechanical side, try pressing harder than you think is a good idea. I find a lot of people are pressing very, very lightly with the blending stump all of the time. There's times when I'm using the blending stump in areas where I want lines to disappear. I am pressing as hard as I can with the blending stump. I am destroying the paper with it. Now, that might not work on the paper that you're on. It works on the papers that I use, but try using the full like value range available with your hand, even with the stump. There's I bet a lot of people who don't have experience with blending stumps, if they could see me drawing with one, they would be surprised to see how often I'm abusing my paper with the stump. And some people can't stand that because it makes like a very particular like nails on a chalkboard feeling for them. I don't get that. It don't bother me. But if it bothers you, I would say, well, you want to make some good drawings or what? Like, well, what is it? You want to make good drawings or what? Thanks for drawing along, Lloyd. Will today be the day when we finally see Steven's feet? I'm sick of this. Sick of this. I'm ready to cancel my YouTube over this. Ready to completely shut down the YouTube. I'm going to stop sending the $50,000 a year that I send to that email, youtuberepresentativereel.com, for the right and privilege of having my YouTube channel. I'm going to stop sending the payment and just let my YouTube lapse because I'm sick of my audience asking for feet pics. Sick of this. Oh, hey, it's Steven. He is drawing Mecha Bouncy Bunny. You're correct. That's true. That is happening. That is truly true. Luis Felipe Urrea Ruiz says, hey, Stephen, what composition tips do you have to add mystery and unsettling vibes? For me, that's often about the values, doing nice obfuscations and lost edges with the values. But really, if you want unsettling, I think nothing's better than unsettling content. You know, not to push anyone into doing really wild stuff, but to just give the most honest answer. Like, if you just present really unsettling content, the values and drawing and all of that will support that, but it'll be unsettling from the ground up. Like, who did that painting? It's a very popular painting of, it's like looking at a doorway and it's dark inside the doorway and there's like a braided bed sheet, I want to say, coming over the shoulder of the camera, just disappearing into the doorway. And there's like a scared dog looking into the door. That's it. It's like, that's just, it doesn't matter almost what the values are there. It's just like that content is so unsettling and so unique that you're always going to get the unsettling vibes off of it. Hi, Doe. If anyone knows the name of that painting or the name of the artist off of my description, feel free to throw it in the chat, because I completely forget who that artist is. Computer Science says, hi, I want to learn rendering but don't want to read Scott Robertson's book. Can you point me somewhere else, please? Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, because there's really not a lot of resources for that out there. You get the course, dude. You get the course. It's that simple. You get the course, of course. I never see it coming. Nobody expects the course. Nobody. Never. I want darker music. But the thing is that on this site, when you go for dark ambiance, it gets really dark, too dark. I'm always good for 10 seconds, and then I'm like, woo, sounds like a murder's about to happen. Which course? You can check out the link in the description of this stream to check out my incredible, gigantic drawing course, Drawing from Imagination. I asked for dark and I get funky drums? Eerie and creepy. Steven, I think I found the painting. Can I send the link here? I don't think links work here. Just put the name of the artist. Too lazy to hand out link permissions right now. Because he's got a bunch of good stuff like that. So I forget who it was who asked the question about how to get the unsettling vibes, but I think he's a good example, especially for... he's unsettling both for the content, like I said, but also his value arrangements are classic exemplars for getting an unsettling vibe. Lots of lost edges, lots of things lost into shadow, which is, you know, classic bordering on the cliche, but it's always good if done well. But, you know, you look at someone like a Junji Ito. A lot of Junji Ito's most famous frames, I hope I have his name right, the famous horror mangaka, a lot of his most famous frames that are considered truly horrific, they're a good example of a lot of those. He does do, you know, in other frames, but he'll do lost edges and a lot of obfuscation and things like that. But some of his most famous frames, that's the name of a storyboard company. Some of his most famous frames are super well lit and very clear and very precise. And he's delineating everything with clear lines, and there's not a lot of lost values. And those are still considered super horrific and unsettling because of the context around them and the implications. So it's less about, there's no hard rules for how you must draw something or arrange the values in order to make something feel horrific. If you craft the context carefully, it can be unsettling, even if it's painted like broad daylight or something like that. Hello, Mihail. The artist is Dragon Bibin. Apparently he really likes dark corridors and dogs. I mean, he got some sort of nice formula there. There's something, I'd never quite seen anybody nail that particular idea before of like letting the animal in the picture. Well, first of all, you know, it's always nice to put an animal in picture in general. A lot of people don't do it at all. But to let the animal in the picture sort of imply the danger, it's like, psh, seems so obvious. Seems so obvious, but that's how you know you hit on something good. When in hindsight, you're like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Hi, Stephen. What do you recommend me for the best value study? Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a bit of a broken record on questions of like, what's the best kind of study? It's always two things. It's just one, the one you'll do. And I do mean do a lot, right? That we've all got one of any random homework assignment style thing in us, but that's just not enough. That doesn't make a big difference in the long run. Art's a marathon. So it's the kind of value study that you'll do over and over and over again, and return to over and over again over many years of practice. It doesn't matter really what the focus is, what the technique is, anything like that. It's like, as long as you're thinking about values as deeply as you can while you're doing those studies, it's going to be effectual. And you just need to do one that you find fun and that aligns with you, so that you will do more than one, so that you'll do hundreds. And number two is the one that makes sense for your project. It's like trying to get good at values in abstraction, or just in abstractum, just like for no reason, just to be good at values is not the fastest way to get good. And then even if you do sort of push through that and you get very good based on no criteria, then a lot of people, I personally have suffered from this, then when it comes time to be like, all right, well, now I'm good. Now I'm supposed to do something, right? Then, you'll pick the thing you need to do, make a game, make a comic, whatever. And then you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh shit, it doesn't all transfer. Whoops. I should have been practicing the kind of values that I needed for the thing that I actually want to make. That should have been my number one priority. So there is no best value study. You need to ask yourself these two questions, and then that'll help you align with what's the best one for you, Stephen, I've started a goblin illustration inspired by your previous stream. Very, very good, very sophisticated, very highbrow, very MoMA in New York City, very Guggenheim, very award-winning, very hyperallergic, very, very art news, very, very ArtNet, very, very Art Basel of you, Mihal. Very cool, very cool. Super, super highbrow, super, super lauded. Yeah, gonna get an award from someone with thick horn rim glasses. Very exciting for you, very exciting for you. Welcome to the elite art world. You'll be living in New York City in no time. This looks like Stave or Stiven. What did you do with Steven? Don't make me play it. Don't make me play it. I'll play it, I swear to God. I'll play it with the intro. I'll go eat snacks in the kitchen for 4 minutes while the intro and the episode plays. Don't make me play it. DKMB says, Stephen, the menu versus Triangle of Sadness. I like Triangle of Sadness better. D.
What?
What'd you like better, the menu or Triangle of Sadness?
The menu or Triangle of Sadness? Triangle of Sadness?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah, the vote is unanimous around here. Triangle of Sadness. I thought the menu was good. It's not like I didn't like it. Dee and I liked it a lot when we watched it. But the menu at a certain point, I got what it was, and it got a little expected. Like it didn't unravel at any point into something that I wasn't expecting. You know, once it sort of gave away the game early on. But it was very good while it did that. It was well written and well paced, I thought. Triangle of Sadness, I thought, was one of those movies where it's like you never could have called where the hell that movie was going at any point. And I really like movies like that. I love a movie where in Act 1, you could never predict what the hell Act 2 is. And in Act 2, you could never predict what Act 3 is. It's like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Even the ending, how it ended, you can't predict what comes after the ending.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger, but it was just, the sequence of events was so random.
Yeah. It keeps it,
Interesting.
yeah, it keeps it very lively. And I wouldn't save it if it was shit. And I know it's definitely not the kind of movie that's for everybody, but I didn't think it was shit. I thought it was well written.
Margot Robbie was excellent in that.
Shut up. We are casting a Margot Robbie type. Steven, can you sing the Giga Chad song, Can You Feel My Heart by Bring Me the Horizon? You know, I wouldn't put it past me, but I actually don't know the song. I'm too old. Too much of an old fart.
No.
Yeah, I'm not up with the memes. Forgetting what's palm and what's finger here. God, I love drawing hands. Hands are so fun. All right, let me be more specific. I love drawing hands that can be anything. Specific hands? Bit more focus required there. Not as fun. But hands that can be anything, monster hands and stuff like that. Love drawing monster hands. I guess to be more specific, what I love drawing is a nice marcid talon, baby. That's what I like drawing. Steven, do you have a favorite Nicolas Cage film? I'm planning to go through all of his films. Pig. Pig is great.
Oh, yeah.
Pig was the first movie my wife and I saw in theaters when things started lifting after the pandemic. That was a great movie to return to theaters with. Forget a good Nicolas Cage movie. I just think Pig is a great movie. I think Pig has one of the best climaxes I've seen. As an example of how the climax of a movie is supposed to be like the ultimate fruition of its theme, I was amazed by Pig. I was like, it felt so action-packed and emotional without action, you know? And that's very hard to do. I thought it was I think it had one of the most clever climaxes I'd seen in a long time.
I cried.
We both cried. I cry every time.
Did you rewatch it?
Pig? No. I haven't seen it since we saw it in the theater. It'd be worth a rewatch, though. Genuinely good movie, I think. I also think about the scene with the scene when he goes to the restaurant and talks with the old chef that he knew. Mm-hmm. I think about that scene often. What is it that he wanted to make? He wanted the British thing. What is it?
I forget what scene you're referring to.
What's that British thing? A poached egg kind of a thing?
Croque monsieur or something. French?
Damn, what is it? No, it's a British thing. Like only the British eat it. It's like a
scotched egg.
Scotched egg. Yeah,
Scotch egg.
Yeah, he talks about how his dream was to make like the best Scotch egg or something. I think about that scene all the time. That's a great scene.
I don't remember that one.
Steven, do you think that it is good to stop drawing big drawings with a lot of render and just study for a few days? Yeah, it's always okay to study, but you got to come back to your big drawings. You got to come back to giving it your all. Because, I mean, people seem to think that the secret to getting better is sketching a lot. And it's like, it's part of it. And you do got to sketch a lot to get some facility, but people seem to not realize that a huge amount of your improvement is gated behind doing slow, careful, finished pieces. You often learn more from those. If you spend 100 hours on one drawing, you will often learn more from that one than from a year of rabid sketching. It's an uncomfortable thing. No one wants to hear it. Look, we're all sad about it. You know, the official committee of official artist thoughts is deciding that that's depressing and sad, but it's true. It's true, dog. Just there's things about drawing that can only be learned on the other side of 100 hours, you know? Or 50 hours, 20 hours, something like that. You just got to spend a long time on things. A lot of the people who get really good really fast are people who don't waste that much time sketching, and they get through the awkward, crushing, embarrassing, heartbreakingly bad finished pieces that everybody has in them early. Those are often the people who improve the fastest, not the people who sketch most violently and most often. I sketch a lot because it's unacceptably fun. It is absurdly fun. It's happiness making for me. I don't sketch like crazy because I think it's what makes me better at art, or that it's the best way to practice or improve. Oops. I thought art was meant to be painful. It is. It's meant to be so painful. It's meant to be by the person who created art, Leonardo da Vinci. When Leonardo da Vinci invented art in 1492 aboard the Santa Maria Pinta and the other one, he set in stone in the founding American art document, the National Constitution of Artistic Thoughts by Leonardo da Vinci. He wrote right in there, it's meant to be painful. And to make sure that it's painful and that lots of pain is available, we do it this way. And he set out the amendments and the bills of art rights. And it was ratified, signed, and spit on by Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King Jr., and all of the CEOs of Motown Records. And we've just been living through the consequences of that ever since.
No.
Wow, history is completed. That's right. It is. This is a history podcast after all. We always have our facts straight here. Having a dilemma about choosing art as a career. Currently 17 years old. Any general advice? Anything I need to know? All right. The good news. All right, let's do the bad news first. The bad news is that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to do art as a career. And you're going to need to put in a considerable amount of dedication, discipline, and doing things that you don't want to do. Unless you're rich, in which case everything's fine. But if you're not, yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. The good news is that you're young enough that you can handle it. You'll be fine. You dedicate yourself early. You have realistic expectations about all of that stuff. Get to networking, get to meeting people. You can absolutely have an art career. And anybody at any age can have an art career, but just like at 17, it's like, you gotta be realistic about the fact that it's never gonna be easier than if you pick it now. You get what I'm saying? You gotta honor that. Goodbye, Schizoid. How's the doggy doing? She's all right. She played fetch this morning. And my wife was around for fetch this morning, so that's when she plays good fetch. When my wife's around, she's trying to impress her.
I'm the only one that kicks it right.
I kick it right. I kick it right too. It's just that she doesn't want to impress me. I kick it right. Dude, I invented kicking it right. Don't give me that. When I kick it, half the time she's like, maybe you go get that one. Oh, but when my wife's around, oh, she gets every one. Oh, now she's going to go get every one. Karem says, now I feel like I have to do it. Thank you, Stephen, for setting my path of living. Oh, God, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I am just some fucking guy on the internet. Please do not base your life choices on me. But I think my rationale there is sound. I think it's sound. But Jesus, woo. You know, you got to follow your heart. Follow your instincts. Hi, Stephen. Do you have any advice about someone who wants to make a career doing art that they want in their own style rather than training for something like visual development or character design? Yeah, be an illustrator. Push your style really far if you want to do that. Make it really, make it unforgettable, you know? Don't do anything like artificial, because that'll come around to bite you as the years go on. You can come to hate your style if what you're doing feels unnatural to you. When I say push it, I mean like, find what you're interested in, you know, like find out, am I really obsessed with values? Am I really obsessed with drawing? Am I really obsessed with color? And once you've sort of triangulated on what parts of art you actually find the most interesting, just sink into it super deep and don't worry about what other people think and don't worry about what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. And just go wild with that thing and find out really how far you're willing to push it. That way you'll keep it natural. All of your interests are still natural there and you won't be doing something that feels artificial for the sake of the market, but you will hopefully land upon a style that could really only be yours because just no one's really like diving in on those things as deeply as you are. Where's your dog, Steven? How is he? She's good. Everyone's very worried about Fanny today. Don't worry about her. She's sleeping somewhere. That's all she does. She sleeps. She sleeps and she waits. In her sunken city of Relais. Steven decided a 17-year-old's life career. God, I hope not. It must be their own choice. No one can be dragged into the art mines. You've got to go willingly. Ty Waffle says, hey, Steven, any tips for photographing pencil drawings? Trying to photograph a piece now and struggling to get it lit evenly and avoid reflections in the dark spots. I do advise getting a scanner. An old school flatbed scanner. They're going out of style now. Who knows? People might stop making them soon because now people just put cameras on sticks and call that a scanner. I would recommend getting a flatbed scanner if you plan on doing a lot of pencil drawings. There's no real substitute for a flatbed scanner. It gives you it still washes out the drawing, but you're going to have to correct them. The point is to be able to correct them. But the good thing about a scanner is that it blasts the whole image with light evenly, which gives you a low contrast, sort of grayed down, generalized exposure of the pencil drawing, where you can just see the grain really clearly everywhere. And technically the whole image is glared out, which makes it seem like it's not all, like, because it's all glare, it seems like there is no glare. And that allows you to adjust it evenly all over to look as close to the original as possible. If you don't want to buy a scanner, which I'm sure even cheap ones are pretty good nowadays, what I usually do is I'll shoot, if I'm going to take a photo, I try to shoot it, I try to shoot a pencil drawing in front of an open window that has indirect light coming through it. You need something really bright so that your camera doesn't need to do a bunch of processing on it to lift the values. But the evenness of the light sort of makes it more likely that you won't get a hot spot on it. What kind of tablet is this guy using? I am drawing on a Huion Kamvas, the 4K one. I forget which one this is. The 24K Pro, I think. Let's see what I'm on. There it is. Kamvas Pro 24 GT 2401. I can't say I like it very much, but I don't like any screen tablets very much. It's just the most convenient for streaming. And I do a lot of notes for my course. It's much easier to do notes on a screen tablet because I can just write quick comments instead of using the type tools. but I can't say they're my favorite to actually work on. Thanks, I have a cheap scanner that's just a little too small for this drawing, maybe worth investing in a slightly larger one. Yeah, if you use Photoshop, you can scan the drawing in parts, and then Photoshop can automatically stitch it together for you. It's called Photo Merge. It's up here, File, Automate, Photo Merge here at the bottom. It gives you a little prompt like this, and you load in the separate scans, and then you just, this is the setting I use. It's just blend images together. I don't do vignette removal or geometric distortion. I don't even know what geometric distortion means. I just do blend images together, and it automatically stitches them together for you perfectly. Do you love drawing or rendering more? So I actually don't make a distinction at this point. The big transformation for me with rendering, which I was definitely not naturally inclined towards. I was naturally inclined towards drawing, towards sketching, and I sucked at rendering. What made rendering click for me and opened it up for me was realizing that it's not a separate process, that it's still just drawing, that it is the same thing that you're doing on the contour. So people, you know, if you get it, you get it. I don't know how else to put it, but what I'm doing here on the contour, where I'm delineating the form of this leg in whatever way I choose, right? Rendering is the exact same thing. It's the same thing. You're just doing it on the inside of this arbitrary contour with soft edges or hatches. They're not different. It's the same thing. You're just adding form information. When that finally clicked for me and I had that psychedelic experience, suddenly rendering was unlocked, baby. Yeah, I don't make a distinction. Summon. Come on. Shh. Don't summon it. Glad we don't get as many bots on stream as we used to. We used to have sex bots in here all the time. It's true. Now we don't get them as much anymore. Yeah, and our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. He also was in the chat a lot. And then he stopped showing up.
Jesus is watch your stream?
Yeah, Jesus used to come all the time. He was super impressed with my drawing skills.
Jesus?
Yeah.
Damn.
He was like, you do glory unto God with those, Stephen. And I was like, chill, Christ. It ain't no thing. Super Saiyan long arm zombie man. Yep, you got it. 100%. Steven, did you ever find your old sketchbooks? I don't know if I ever underwent the journey. I mean, they're down in Florida now with my mom. That's the problem. They're quite far away.
No.
Can you stand on your head? Says, have you ever worked for video games or animation on concept art? Sorry if I'm asking too many questions. I don't really know the rules for the live stream. Look. There's really just not a lot of rules here. I am a tyrannical despot here, but I kind of make up the rules arbitrarily as people offend me, you know, as befits a tyrannical despot. Have you ever worked for video games or animation on concept art? Yes, yes I have. Yes. I can feel some Frazetta stuff happening. Good excuse to draw another zombie or monster.
Did it rank go through?
It would go through tomorrow.
Tomorrow Saturday.
I mean, it's just gonna, I don't think Zell cares.
Oh. Danny, show.
How often do you clothe your creations, or are they mostly nude? Dude, clothing is the devil's trap. Nakedness is the only true clothing. You gotta be out there the way God made you. I'm a full nudist. My stuff, I mostly draw everything nude. Just because I like keeping my skills for anatomy and everything sharp. But, I mean, if you look at like the art that I've been paid for my whole life, probably includes absolutely not one example of anything nude, you know? Most of the art that I've done in my life is clothed people. Or includes clothed people. Cyber Demon 1542. Oh boy, Cyber Demons. That's scary. With 25 ROM. Did you see Objiverse 3D scraping on Sketchfab, NVIDIA Picasso, ChatGPT in Blender? You should cover 3D too. In this together, extremely demoralized. Objiverse. I'm gonna have to make a note about that to take a look at that. I mean, 3D scraping was obviously coming, but maybe I have seen Objiverse. Is Objiverse brand new? If it's new, then I haven't seen it, but I've seen some initial 3D scraping stuff. The trick with 3D scraping of 3D models is like, if it's looking at things on Sketchfab, and it's basically doing photogrammetry based off of the different views, you know, being able to rotate things in Sketchfab, that's a problem, but I don't think it's going to be the problem for 3D. I think 3D is really going to go through its AI experience once AIs are given actual 3D models, like with the technicals in there, where it's not just looking at a 2D view of a model in a viewport, but it's ingesting the actual model, like the OBJ file or the FBX file or whatever it is, what have you. I think once it's doing that, that's when the real trouble for 3D arises. That's the real issue. How are you laying out these proportions so quick? Just raw brute force. Just years and years and years of drawing figures incessantly. And I still don't get it right every time. So the horizon there recedes forever. But yeah, nothing but brute force. Just practice, practice, practice. Drawing really be an infinite practice simulator? Yeah. I mean, if you're the kind of person who likes the feeling of just an infinite horizon of improvement, where if you just plug into it, you'll see these incremental little boosts, like going for max level character in an RPG or something like that. Drawing's got to be one of the best, especially because it simulates the diminishing returns so well. It's like, oh, this is great. It's like, if you really like when you're trying to, like, let's say you play Dark Souls and you want to have a character whose level is maxed out, and you like how once you've gone pretty far in, like for your next level, you need to do like a whole new game plus cycle to get that level. It's like drawing definitely has that for you. That's definitely there. It's going to be super fun. Steven, what are your settings? Not in Photoshop. I mean in real life. Like your in real life saturation is always on point, my man. Dude. Dude. My settings are refined to perfection. You got no idea. Those are trade secrets, dog. Very precise settings. Calibrated. Highly calibrated. All sorts of different forms of calibration, modules, systems, beliefs, actions, activities, habits, all sorts of stuff. You got no clue. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to keep that saturation on point. Synced up. Just think about Michelangelo, because that's the skill ceiling. Never going to get there, LOL. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about art. That's a wild thing. You could be better. You could be better than Michelangelo. I mean, you'll never be better, you know? You're not going to be like a better person, you know? You're never going to like be so good that it crosses into the realm of being objective and apples to apples or something like that. But just in drafting, just in like the freedom of what you can draw, you could be better than Michelangelo. You can. The problem is if culture doesn't give you incentives, then we lose that possibility. If culture has no incentives to be better than Michelangelo, then it could be really impossible to ever hit that. because you need to be incentivized, you know? Only a psychotic would do that much, put in that much effort and that much work for no good reason. But if the incentives were there, the horizon for skill is infinite. Infinite. Hey, Steven, what's a good watercolor box set for plein air? I don't know. I really don't know. When I've done watercolors outdoors, I made my own box sets. I just bought an empty box and I bought the paints I wanted in tubes, and I just squeezed them into the empty slots and I let them dry for a day, and that's what I used. Goodbye, can you stand on your head? Goodbye. Steven, have you ever watched Aeon Flux? No, I have not. How do you test your drawing if you don't have enough experience? You don't see any mistakes until someone points them out. If that's really the case for you, then you need to get hooked up with a teacher. Or even if not a teacher, then get a peer group. Start making art with some friends, set up some crit nights, put it on a schedule, just look at each other's work. It's like, that's not a problem. If you've recognized that it's not a problem, if you actually get people's eyes on it and have them point out the mistakes to you. Just be judicious about who you invite. You want everybody to be kind of on the same page for what they're going for and what the goals are. You don't want to just invite everyone that you know or everyone that you know that makes art, you know? Because there's a lot of artists who are not, their practice is not about like improving their drawing. You get what I'm saying? And you don't want them in the group, not because that's wrong or something. That's a totally valid way to go through the practice, and they're thinking about other things. But if you don't get that, or if other people who are trying to improve their drawing don't get that, and then you mix those energies in your crit group, it's going to go and it's going to explode. You're going to get into the classic problem where, you know, that person is like, well, you know, I'm not really obsessing about that. And then you guys or other people are like, well, you don't want to get better at drawing. It's like, that's why we're here. And then they're like, there's other things to get better at that. And then you'll all get into a big bitter tiff and won't have a crit group anymore. And in that situation, everybody is wrong. Everybody is wrong and nobody wins. You draw so much so fast. Hand over the secrets. Oh, if I could, I would, my friend. Would that I could just bestow you with these gifts, but lo, I cannot. I cannot. You will have to fight for them, struggle for them, work for them the same way that I did. Oh, cursed fate. Woeful night of the artistic soul. Would that I could change it. Hey, Steven, tuning in while I do my own practice because you just have good commentary. Thanks, Modil. Thank you. Your sketching process looks so streamlined. It is definitely not. It's by turns messy, chaotic, lost. I just kind of go with the flow. Are you using reference? I am not. I'm just messing around and drawing from my mind my favorite thing in the whole goddamn world. Mama, Steve on the internet said I'm supposed to draw without reference. Billy Ray, how many times I gotta tell you that's for the professionals? Now you go look for a photograph right now and you use it for reference. Oh, but Mama, I want to draw like Steven. Billy Ray, you get back here right now and you take this photograph. I'm on the last page of my first sketchbook right now. Good for you, Yankee. That's great. That's an awesome feeling. Congratulations. Everybody give Yankee big love in the chat for doing such a nice artsy thing. If we've never had that feeling, we all want it. And those of us who have had it, we all know how good that feels. Wow. Very nice. Damn it, just go up there. Okay. Is it okay to embrace one's mediocrity? Everybody improves anyway? Yeah, it is. I think it's a good idea, really. You go ahead and you embrace it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If it gives you peace and keeps you drawing, you're gonna get everything you want anyway. So. Like, yeah, the feeling of mediocrity never really goes away anyway, you know. As the years wear on, you learn so much about art and you see so much great art and you become more knowledgeable about the journey and stuff like that. And at a certain point, you reach an area where it's like, no matter how good you are, you're probably always going to feel mediocre. Because just like your taste has continued to improve as well. And the more that you know about art, the more that you're aware of, you know, what you're not doing and what's not right and what could be better and all that. And as you become more refined and more skilled, you know, you don't see that stuff less, you know, your vision for that only gets more precise. So.
Oh, 5 o'clock.
Whoa, immediately time to quit. It's like you'll know you're good, you know. You'll definitely reach that professional level where it's like, you know I can do the job, but you'll also always kind of look at your own work and be like, yeah, there's another one. There's another one. I think most people who've been doing it for a long time, you definitely, you look at yourself and you're like, yeah, I'm a hack, but I'm all right. Hi, puppy. You know, she wants me off too. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Yeah.
I'll work a little while longer.
That's why I didn't jump off immediately. I knew you were going to say that. I was like, if I know my wife, she's got to ease into being done with work. Little touch and go for a minute. The less you know, the better. Well, there's a certain amount of, there is a utility to ignorance for sure, especially in art. I wish it wasn't true, but there's a lot to be said about not being too knowledgeable. Let's say excessively knowledgeable about everything that's out there and everything that's been done and stuff like that. Because the feeling that for all of your effort, you'll never sort of make something new or make something really great. That feeling, that virus, once it crawls into your mind, can be really debilitating for a lot of people. So enjoy ignorance while you have it. It's a great thing. It is a great thing. I am Spike Knight, Lord of Spiketopia. I have never been defeated, not even by the spikiest of foes. My spikes are rigid and ready for combat. I think this dog's hungry. She's been giving me sass. Oh, you see? Since very early in the day, she's been sassing me like this. I think her breakfast didn't. It's because she did exercise. Oh my God, she's jumping up on me. Stop it. Stop it. I got to mute for a second. All right, my wife's gonna feed her. That dog's been sassing me like that all day. See, sometimes on days where she gets her, some days where she gets her exercise, her breakfast is not quite enough, you know, because she burned the calories. She burned the calories. So she gets hungry earlier.
Macy, she's gonna get. We fed her too early, so she's gonna get hungry again before she.
It's not the earliness, it's the exercise. She burns the calories because she's a fitness dog. Because she's posting with her Yerba Life tea or whatever it is. She's a dog fitness influencer. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows my dog is a dog fitness influencer. God damn it. God damn it, my dog's got her ass out online and there's nothing I can do about it. Because she's making her living off of it. Steven, how do you not get back pain from drawing so much? Yeah, my back hurts sometimes. I just move around. It was definitely worse when client work was the main part of my life. Definitely worse. But yeah, you got to get exercise and stuff like that. When I was at the times where it would have been really bad, like when I was really inundated with client work and things like that, I did the most that I could. I would draw on my iPad, on the iPad Pro, which I got pretty early on, like right after they released the first one. I tried to spend as much time drawing on the iPad Pro as possible, just because that's a much more, for me, it's not just that it's a more natural position, but it just has so many possibilities. So you can put it up on the stand, you can put it in a dock, you could put it in your lap, you could take it to the couch so you can get, you know, if your desk chair starts driving you crazy, you could go sit on the sofa, go sit in the kitchen. The variety there was very useful for preventing back pain there. Not everybody can do that, but that really helped me. Type. All right, everybody, I'm going to start signing off. Got some errands I got to go do. I'll hang out for a bit longer if anybody has any last questions or comments or complaints. Complaints, like I'd ever listen to your complaints. Man, I just got here. It happens. It's always got to be somebody. It's always got to be somebody. Fanny the fitness influencer. Dude, you guys, she's so annoying. She's so annoying. I look at her Instagram story. I'm constantly, God damn, can you not post stuff like that? I send that to her in her DMs. Like, Jesus Christ, Fanny, how many times I got to tell you that? Come on. But she doesn't look, because, you know, that's how she makes her money. So, you know, I'm her dad. I can complain as much as I want, but what's she going to do? Not make all that bank? It's ridiculous. What's your opinion on cats? I've met plenty of cats I've liked. I've met plenty of cats I don't like. I'm not a cat person though. I don't like how indifferent they are. You know, I'm very sensitive emotionally. I need to know my pet loves me unconditionally, or else I take that far too seriously. I don't have the emotional grit necessary to have a pet cat, you know? Even my dog, who definitely loves me. I mean, my dog loves me still. I spend half the time looking at her from across the room and wondering, like, does she fucking hate me? Which is funny, because I don't think that way about people. I do think that way about animals. I'm like, what do I got to do to impress this dog? Have you tried inking traditionally using a glass pen? I don't think I've ever tried a glass pen, but I do ink traditionally with all sorts of tools. Dip pens, brush pens, markers, felt tip pens. But no, I've never tried a glass pen. I would imagine they're perfectly rigid, right? So it leaves kind of a monoline. I've worked with stuff that leaves monoline before. Just like a completely consistent line weight with no variety. But I don't know, maybe glass pens don't do that. Do you know any good brands for big 1 meter by 70 bristle smooth paper sheets? Thanks. You can get Strathmore's bristle in rolls. I've never found the rolls, at least looking online, I've never found the rolls for like 400 series bristle paper, but they do sell rolls of the 300 series, so you could use that. They also have their drawing line in smooth and medium tooth in rolls. I'm a Strathmore fan, you know. I like their stuff. I am Spike Knight. The spikes on my armor indicate my strength and my rigidity, both in my values and in my physical presence. I am undefeated. I can't help but notice that your armor doesn't even have a single spike on it. I do not consider you a worthy opponent. I've heard nerds say that the spikes are something called shot traps, and that they would guide arrows right into the most tender bits of my armor. Do you know what I said to them? I killed them with my spikes. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. Sending you all incredible cosmic drawing powers. I hope that all of your creative endeavors go great over the weekend. I hope that every time you draw, may your lines be flowing, may your values be powerful, may your compositions, as always, be sublime. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Simon Kutcher. Goodbye, Boxer Wing. Goodbye, Mizubi Art. Goodbye, I cantalum falbimes. Goodbye, Smpri Arts. What's with these names? Goodbye, Smp Arts on Instagram, LOL. Goodbye, Ella Nguyen. Goodbye. Did I say goodbye to Simon Kucher yet? I think I did. Colin Gallagher, 606. Goodbye to Goodbye to Nobody. Goodbye to Robert Matalshai. Goodbye, Karem. Goodbye, MF. Goodbye, Milk Money. Goodbye, Lorenzo Lopez. Valdemar Svinson. T.I. Joao. E.J. Clay. Estras Munoz. Oneographist. Goodbye to Oneographist. Goodbye to Caitlin Starks. Goodbye to Nina Modelsky. Goodbye to Karen. Sweet Karen. Goodbye to Wellington Cardoso. Andres A. Felix. Sembach. Leah Caldas. Cyberdemon 1542. Sarah Utiel. Xantus Legost. The NBA Mixtapes. Shamfu. Anxios. Crick. Lloyd Quigis. Clark. Yankee, who completed a sketchbook. Lorenzo Lopez. Sam Yemi. Mr. Cthulhu. My cosmic and eldritch Lord and Savior, sweet Cthulhu, who slumbers silently in his sunken city of Relais. Cthulhu, Fatagan Relais. IL45Y, Amon Dives, Luke LaFontaine, Moonslick, Sept, and again, Anxious. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me while I draw. Good luck with all your drawings. And I will see you all very soon. And goodbye from Spike Night as well, of course. Peace, everybody. Goodbye, non-local quantum circuit.